Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of The Smashing Machine. This movie is directed by Benny Safdie, who previously directed Uncut Gems and Good Time. This movie stars Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt, and Ryan Bader. Now, the plot of this movie tells the story of legendary mixed martial artist Mark Kerr, known as The Smashing Machine, taking place from the time frame of 1997 to the year 2000. Now, when I first saw the trailer to this movie, I was intrigued because I was like, all right, one, The Rock is stepping out of his shell. He's not just playing The Rock, he's playing an actual, real professional athlete. So he has to get into shape. I mean, a little more into shape. And I'm glad that this movie was focusing on mixed martial arts. Warrior was really good. Iron Claw had just come out. So it made me think that somebody's wheels were turning and they were like, hey, we made a biopic about professional wrestling, so let's try our hand at mixed martial arts. And I was real curious why they made a movie about Mark Kerr. Well, having seen the movie, I can honestly say that I left the theater wondering the exact same thing. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I was a mixed martial artist fan. From like the year 2005 to like 2011, I kind of fell out of it. But I know who Mark Kerr is. I know about Pride FC. I know who Randy Couture is, Chuck Liddell, all the greats. So I was real curious what this movie was going to do for the sport of mixed martial arts, but I was also real intrigued to see what The Rock was going to do with this kind of role. And I can say that The Rock tried in this movie. He got a little bit bigger than he normally is because Mark Kerr is a huge man. Look him up if you don't know who he is. His arms are huge, so The Rock got jacked. He had to throw on a wig, but I kind of felt like this movie was The Rock almost playing himself when they film cameras aren't rolling. There were moments where Mark Kerr was sweet and nice and patient, and then there are times where he gets agitated and he gets angry, and there's a small subplot involving substance abuse where his personality, his attitude, his relationship changes because of choices that he's making. I will say that the emotion in this movie is carried by Emily Blunt. Not only is she really attractive in this movie, but she's the one that, is Mark's partner and friend, but also kind of enemy at some portions. They were like frenemies in this movie. And their relationship, their dynamic, their drama was the only reason I kept watching this movie. Because the movie, honestly, it was kind of boring. It wasn't a movie that I was watching going, ooh, I'm excited to see what's happening next. I was watching it to see where it was going because what we were given wasn't all that exciting. Maybe it's because this movie takes place from 97 to 2000, only a 3 year span. If this movie followed his career longer, maybe from like 92, 93, when he came face to face with guys like Kurt Angle or Randy Couture or other people when he was younger, maybe we would care about him more. Maybe we would give a crap as to who Dawn is, who Mark Kerr is, why we should care about when they're happy or when they're sad. But we do get a side character of Mark Coleman, played by Ryan Bader. Now, if you don't know who Mark Coleman is, he's also another UFC MMA legend, but look him up. And then look up Ryan Bader. And it kind of makes me curious why they chose someone like Ryan Bader to play Mark Coleman. Maybe he knew him. Maybe he knew Mark Kerr. Maybe he's just a mixed martial artist they could hire on for this movie. I'm not sure, because on one hand, they took their time and their effort to make this a real legit mixed martial art movie. They had Boss Rutan play himself in this movie. He's a legend. They also had, the gear, the rings, the sets. Everything looked like, the early 2000s and late 99. But in some token, it's like, so are you trying or are you not trying? Now, Mark Kerr is still alive. There are a lot of people they could have used in this movie that they didn't. Mark Coleman's also still alive. You couldn't have him in this movie at all for any reason. It just makes me scratch my head. And it also makes me curious as to who this movie is for. Is this movie for fans of Mark Kerr and the Smashing Machine documentary? Is this movie for hardcore mixed martial arts fans? Is this movie for people just getting into the sport? If so, why make a movie about Mark Kerr? Why not make one about Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor, Tito Ortiz? Someone that's maybe more established or maybe more of a household name than Mark Kerr. Another questionable choice was the music in this movie. You have a couple fights in this film, and one of them features jazz music, slow jazz music. And during the fights, they don't even sound impactful or hurtful or like they could really do damage. All the punches sound like this. The kicks, the punches, they don't sound like, you're getting hit. They don't sound intense. They don't sound like you're doing damage. They're just very light. And then there's a montage in this movie that's an okay montage and a pretty bland movie, but you have Frank Sinatra's My Way playing behind it. This isn't Rocky running up the stairs either. This is just a montage of him training. And the only reason you care about this scene is because this really cool song is playing in it. So the music choices were questionable. There's even a cameo from Mark Kerr in this movie, but it happens late in the film and it almost feels like it was shoehorned in. And if you watch the movie, it's almost like he didn't even know they were filming him. There's a lot of stuff in this movie where the director is just like, okay, keep filming. Okay, Mark Kerr's going to dig some leaves out of the pool, keep filming. Mark Kerr's going to get in his truck and back up and drive away, keep filming. There's a lot of things in this movie that I guess they were going for the real life documentary aspect, but they just filmed a lot of things that they could have cut the scenes a lot earlier than they needed to. So, because I felt this movie was a passion project for either Benny Safdie, Dwayne Johnson, or both of them, I'm glad it got made. But again, no disrespect to Mark Kerr, but why was this the movie that we got? So because of that, I'm going to give The Smashing Machine a C. Till next time, guys. See ya.